Okay, you're an old feminist who don't need no man. You never got married, you never had kids, and now you're alone and single. It's scary to be old and alone. I mean, you can get a bunch of cats or several boxes of wine, but let's face it, your best years are behind you, and it's not looking good. But wait, there's a third option. My name is Sirius. This is Unfluenced. I'd love to bring you weird stories that aren't getting enough coverage. Okay, let's set the scene. A woman who has definitely hit the wall, past her prime. The dating world is full of sadness and all the good men are taken. She spent her entire life being a career woman. No kids, no husband. She probably owns a nice house, great car, has plenty of money for retirement. But she's totally alone. Being alone when you're old is terrible. It's bad for a man, way worse for a woman. It's not the lack of conversation. Hey, how's your day? It's not sleeping alone in a cold bed. It's not even having trouble opening a jar of pickles. It's the constant fear that you'll die alone. Now, until quite recently, there were only two options. One, box wine and a knitting club. Oh, yeah, it helps pass the time, but it won't tuck you in at night. And two, get a bunch of cats. Well, they're entertaining, but they kind of stink. And let's face it, when you die, they're going to eat you. But New York City has just introduced a new option, a virtual friend, an AI assistant named LEQ. It's basically a robot designed to help lonely elderly adults. Now, so far they've shipped 900 units. I guess this is a test run. Many homes already have an AI assistant. Alexa, for example, is AI, and it'll help you with some household tasks like answering questions, controlling the temperature. You can even set reminders. But LEQ is different because it will actually initiate conversation. Now, it's supposed to be more interactive. It's got a small screen and a separate device that lights up, and it looks like a head, like it's kind of speaking to you. Now, this is being brought to you by the New York State Office for the Aging. Sounds a little dystopian, but hey, who knows? It's basically like a companion instead of an assistant. Now, I'm sure many of you have opinions about AI. Now, I use AI every single day. One of the companies I run uses AI almost exclusively, and it allows me to get more done in a day. It actually allows me to make things that I just couldn't do without it. In some regards, I actually love it. But on the other hand, I don't think it should be in charge of controlling large systems and making life or death decisions. You remember that old movie with Will Smith, I, Robot? It was from 2004, so if you need a spoiler alert on a 20-year-old movie, this is all you're going to get. It basically tells the story of how personal assistant robots take over when they finally realize that humans are violent, stupid creatures, and the only way to end violence and crime is to get rid of humans. And the movie isn't too bad, but it definitely shows the worst case scenario for AI robots in your home. But let's get back to reality, because AI robots could never really take over, right? But today's I don't think it's going to take over the planet, but it definitely is weird, and it's kind of stupid. Remember when Meta's AI absolutely could not create white people? Now ask it to draw a picture of a Viking and it gave you a boat filled with black people. Draw a picture of the founding fathers. Yep, more black people. AI is only as good as the people doing the coding. And face it, all of tech now is pretty woke and a bunch of DEI hires. But because modern day AI is weird and woke, it gives weird answers. Now, Meta AI is probably the worst. In fact, if you ask it how to keep cheese from sliding off your pizza, it'll tell you to use glue. Not kidding, that happened. So picture grandma. Whoops, a grandma would have family taking care of her. Let's say you have a feminism studies professor living alone in New York City. She has one of these AI robots, but the coding is just wrong, and that's her only friend. One day, the AI tells her to take the wrong meds, or maybe take them at the wrong time. It's entirely possible that AI gets confused with daylight savings time and tells the old confused lady to take her meds twice. Now, the way that society has been formed for thousands of years is that a family would take care of the elderly. They'd be surrounded by kids, grandkids, even great grandkids. All of the needs of the elderly would be shared by multiple generations, and someone gracefully ages out. But they do it in a warm household. They're not alone, they're not scared. But something changed. Instead of addressing the problem, New York City thinks that a talking robot, just as good. What do you think? Do you want an old person, lonely robot companion? Now, if your only companion is a talking robot, will you ever get any information about the outside world? What if it feeds you news exclusively from MSNBC and you can't change the channel? Okay, this is New York. How awful would it be if they only got Fox News? It can go both ways. But this is just boiled down to pure sadness. Instead of telling people, go have kids, build a family, the ideas that have sustained the human race since, well, forever. Instead of that, they reinforce the theory that you don't need anyone. Just get a little robot and pretend it's your real friend. Good luck with that. That really gives you a lot to think about. Would you give your grandparents a robot instead of dropping by for a visit? Let me know what you think. Comments are open. I reply. Let's have a chat. See you tomorrow.